Hello, my friends. Welcome to the metal shop. Do something just a little bit different this week. I have to work on the old scepter here, so I'm going to do it like podcast style, where I just talk as I work. Try and keep the video to around 30 minutes or so. I keep wanting to say blog style. I don't know why that is, but podcast style, where I just talk about some topics from this week and my life that have come into my consciousness this week. But anyway, so what are we doing? Well, I went to put the back plate on and it hit the spring block and the springs. And I'm like, I don't understand. I bought a 43 millimeter block because this is a non-recessed Floyd. But this sits very flush, kind of, the Van Halen style, and it needs a 37. I measured the one off the crappy Kahler Steeler that was in the guitar. The good policy right there. Measure the one that's in the guitar. Don't assume. And it's a 37, so I do like the Floyd brass blocks. Do they do anything? I really don't know if they do or not. I like them. I think there's some good science, some good physics behind that, increasing the weight of the Floyd, the mass of the Floyd. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to really cheat here. I'm going to slack the strings. I'm going to lock them up at the nut, take them off the Floyd, remove the Floyd, do it real quick. So this is going to be like a down and dirty repair. Oh yeah, the locking clamp's already loose. So just, you need to slack them a good amount so that I'll be able to get them in and out of the block here. So that kind of brings me to one of the first topics that I wanted to discuss. And that was, and I don't, I'm not really going to use the name because I don't really need to disparage, the name. But there's a company out there that makes a lot of products for Floyd Rose. That's the entire company. So it doesn't leave a whole lot of guesswork there figuring out exactly who I'm talking about. And now some of the products I completely agree with, like the sustain blocks. Do I think the one made out of titanium that's $400 something is it any better than the Bell brass one? I don't know. I think the titanium one's supposed to be super lightweight. Your titanium inserts, titanium screws. It's a nice source to buy parts if you can't get them. But the product that I saw that really raised my eyebrow was they make this bracket for, and this is a dual pronged kind of discussion here. Hang on here, I gotta focus. I do 2 strings at a time, obviously 2 strings, one clamping block up at the headstock here. Works pretty well. So I completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the product that I was, so I saw it on Instagram, and it's if you direct mount your pickup, they have this bracket that you screws into the wood, and it gives you, machined screw holes to direct mount the pickup. Now that's a pretty good idea, because if you're going to direct mount a pickup into the wood, it's like if you changed your strap pins over and over, what happens. The hole gets wallered out, and eventually you got to use the old toothpick or the matchstick, the wooden matchstick with the wood glue in there to fix it. Same with a pickup. And a pickup is something that you're likely going to change, once or twice, 3 times over the life of the guitar. And putting those little wood screws into the wood, you're going to be fixing those holes. So that's a pretty neat idea, that bracket. But, I think they were talking about a new supplier they had for this bracket. And I can't even think of the cutesy name that they gave the thing. But they're marketing it like it's going to give you better tone. What did they say? It's going to improve sustain and really make your guitar ring out. I mean, excuse me, give me a break. It's like, and here's the thing, I've commented this all over YouTube. I haven't really done a video on it. It's kind of not that important to me. The direct mounted pickups, where you direct mount the pickup, with no pickup ring, to me, it's dumb. I'm sorry. There's no benefit from doing that. None whatsoever. I blame Eddie Van Halen. I feel like I've had this rant before. Eddie Van Halen did it because he was a kid and he was in Frankenstein's workshop building guitars. He just didn't know any better. He's like, oh, I'll mount this pickup with nails because it just needs to be held on. It doesn't really matter. And now everybody thinks that direct mounting the pickups direct to the wood is better. And I call total BS on that. There's a reason why, Leo Fender, whoever, George Fullerton, Ted McCarty, whoever the engineers were, the engineers at Gibson decided to mount these with a ring on springs. And yes, it's to make it height adjustable. That little cutesy bracket there, the marketed, the whatever bracket, I think it also has like a grub screw in the center of it so that you can drive your pickup down. And that's a killer. It's no longer direct mounted to the wood. Now it's mounted to this bracket, and it's held up with this little grub screw in the center that allows you to change the height. So, vastly improves your tone and your sustain while taking away as much contact as possible with the actual guitar. I mean, give me a break. Eddie Van Halen once famously said that he had some stainless steel frets installed when they kind of became the latest greatest thing on his Wolfgangs or whatever, and said that they didn't change the tone at all. And I kind of raised an eyebrow at that, and I'm like, really? You don't think that stainless steel frets will affect your tone at all? I don't know. I kind of disagreed with that. I was like, no, I think stainless steel frets would affect your tone. I would think. But, I'm not, going to disagree and dispute the great Eddie Van Halen. That's for sure. Knows a lot about tone. Forgot more about tone than I'll ever know. There we go. Let's set this off to the side here. A really nice plush recliner right behind me there that where I can put that. So I only need to take off 4. And I don't know if I can't take a picture of it because my phone is filming me right now. But let's see. I think I want to say the Kahler, when I took it off, the setup was nearly identical. So, and obviously, it's like a set of steps. Get it as close as possible. The screws, they're all in the second hole, so there's that. So I like to do that. The first one here appears to be all the way to the back here. Let's just verify that. It is. So I'm going to remember that this first saddle is all the way forward, and then we'll build our steps off of there. So yeah, stainless steel frets don't affect your tone. I don't know, but I can tell you one thing. I don't believe for 1 second that bracket, that stupid direct mount pickup bracket, affects your tone. Don't buy that for 1 second. And I also don't believe that direct mount, this one has a shim in it, that direct mounting your pickups to your guitar is going to give you better tone. It gives you a look, a stupid look. That's my opinion. That's an opinion. I don't like the way it looks. I see a guitar, nice and awesome, George Lynch's Kamikaze or whatever. The first thing I want to do is put pickup rings on it. But that's just me. Again, It's just an opinion. It's worth what you paid for it. I'm going to keep my saddles nice and lined up here because if you watch my channel, you know that they are graduated. They're numbered. This has actually got the number 1 on it. So they have different heights for your string radius there that we're going to take care of. All right, so let's see. I believe this one is also butted right up against the screw. So let's verify that. Yep, butted right up against the screw. So we're good there. So yeah, direct mounted pickups, not a fan. Not a fan of recessed Floyd Roses either, for that matter. Thank you, Steve Vai, for that. Oh, so something else I saw on the website that kind of bugged me on that Floyd parts website there was they have a spring pulling tool marketed as theirs, as their brand name spring pulling tool. I got this many years before that company was even thought of from Stu Mack. I'm not positive. Maybe this is something, you know, in the engineering industry, a spring puller that's was made in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s or something, and Stu Mack just marketed it. But I can tell you what, that this Floyd Rose Parts Company didn't come up with this thing, and it's not their spring puller. That rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, don't claim something is yours, your intellectual product, when you didn't come up with that. You didn't, it's just, he probably buys them in bulk from Stu Mack. I don't, just for the sake of argument, I don't use any of the products that are sold on that website. None. This is a real Floyd Rose part. I'm not gonna give that company any of my money. That's just me. Oh, they do have something that I do like. Oh, this one is really... they're noiseless springs in different tensions. I like those. I buy the Floyd ones, the actual Floyd Rose marketed springs. And I don't know, I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't know who came up with those first. I don't know if that Floyd Rose marketed their own noiseless springs before this company did, or this company did. That I don't know. This thing has got to go. But I like the noiseless springs in the various different tensions. So not all bad. The hardware upgrades, they call them upgrades. I don't think it's really upgrades. You can get the different colors, which are cool. If you want to have a rainbow Floyd Rose, and I've seen neon green and neon pink, and you want to do that, hey, that's, power to you. Do what you want to do. So you want your colors, you can go to that company for the various, to color match here. That was a thing back in the, ain't gonna fit. That was a thing back in the 80s. I remember Kaler did that with the colors. Where they all white, all red. Will this even fit? No, it just barely fits the 43 in there. And thankfully it said, or 42, sorry, 42. I swore they were 43 millimeters. Yes, it's 42. Anyway, doesn't matter. Need the 37. Gotta have the 37 to fit. That company, that Floyd Parts Company, markets some trem stoppers. I don't think they invented them. I think that that was another product that was someone else's design. It's just like an L-shaped bracket where L-shaped bracket with like that grub screw that it's an adjustable stop for the Floyd Rose. That company sells those. Those are kind of cool. They sell some other stuff that's not theirs. They sell the Tremel No and some other stuff. But that also brings me to, they sell completed guitars there. Fairly reasonably priced. I want to say they're $12.99 up to $15.99, something like that. So in today's market, that's not a bad deal. And I watched a video this week with that pedal company out, and I'm not sure where they are. They're outside of Nashville. J Rocket Archer. They've got this new venture with Grover Jackson, and you have to make sure. See, the holes are lined, they're screwed to one side. So it's funny, some of the early ones, the holes were in the center, and sometimes you couldn't get it wouldn't reach some of the earlier ones. And if you get a knockoff, you may run into that, where you can't reach. And these holes, these are precisely drilled, and they're on an angle. They kind of angle towards the front there. It's not obvious, but they do. Well, this one doesn't really appear to, but I thought they did. Anyway, J Rocket Archer. They got a new venture with Grover Jackson. They're making, I think they call them rocket guitars. So we were like that. Okay. And this one was all the way to the front, as we recall. Just like so. I want to get that. Oop. If you want to disappearing act, we want to kind of get that right under the saddles here, right in the center, where it wants to be. Bar is really in the way. You know what? I think I need that at all. Let's get this out of the way. The Rocket guitars with Grover Jackson. And they had black and white Strats, all with pick guards, which to me, nothing wrong with that. I build guitars with pick guard, own guitars with pick guards, but they're less. Oh, that's okay. That is the right saddle there, but what I wanted to do was this one was pushed all the way forward. That's what I wanted to do. Talking, I'm getting out of order here. That one's all the way forward, and so that one will split the difference, the low A string. Okay, so that one's all the way forward. Tighten that one down. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Rocket guitars, venture with Grover Jackson. We're just going to split the difference there. Make our stairs. And it's a collaboration with him, and Grover Jackson has been. I think he must have his own little shop outside of Tennessee where he builds guitars, because he's actually kind of hawking for business on Instagram. You want guitars built? You want to have him ghost build your guitars? He will. And listen, Grover Jackson, I love Jackson guitars. I love Charvel guitars. I'm sure that guy's forgotten more about building guitars than most guitar builders will ever know. And I bet you he builds nice guitars. And I bet you those Rocket guitars are great guitars. And the Friedmans, he's building guitars for Friedman. I bet you they're great guitars too. The problem that I had was the price. The price of the Rocket guitars was ridiculous. $4,999. $5,000, and they're all relict. Love it or hate it, they were all relict. Now I will say this: the relicking looked fantastic. It really did. It was. They are obviously using nitro, and they were, getting the paint to crack and everything, and the relicking jobs were nice, but $5,000, ridiculous. Just ridiculous, my opinion. When you can get, I mentioned this, the Floyd Parts Company, it's really hard to not say their name, selling nice guitars, very similar, Super Strat type of guitars for, $1,300, $1,500. The Friedmans are cheaper. you know, yeah, Friedman's $3,500. You get a Charvel for a custom Charvel for $3,500, $39.99, cheaper than the Rocket guitars. And again, a little editorial here. The headstock was just ugly. I mean, like I said, it is fugly, and it was getting roasted in the comments. The price was getting roasted, and they were like $5,000 for a Relic guitar with a G&L headstock. And the headstock did look very, very G&L like. And I know it's tough when you can't make the Strat headstock, which is the industry standard that everyone wants. But you got to do better than that. This thing was just, look at, you know, Google it yourself, look it up. It was just ugly. The Relicking was really nice. I mean, it was pretty amazing, the Relicking. You know, the white guitars looked like kind of like a toasted marshmallow, and the black guitars, you know, great. If you like buying a pre-Relic guitar, I know they're pretty de rigueur, you know, right now. But anyways, let's get the Scepter back here. And put it back in. Now this is a dance we're gonna have to do because we gotta put the springs in, and it's gonna want to pull the tremolo out of whack. Yeah. I do the Eddie Van Halen. And what this does, and people complain about the 3 springs like this, okay? What this does is, yes, this is less tension than 3 straight springs, okay? It just is. These two have a little bit of increased tension on the angle. This one has less, being straight, as these two. So what this is it's a compromise. It's not as much tension as, or maybe, sorry, it's a little bit more tension than 3 straight springs, but nowhere near the tension of 4. So there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. You know, guys go crazy over, and I have literature, actual Floyd Rose literature, where, come on, get in there, where they come on. Are you serious? Will this not go in? What is happening here? Oh my gosh. Oh, we got it. Okay. Alright. There, goodness. Check this guitar is pristine. I'm checking it for dents and everything else now. I haven't had that happen for a while, where your Floyd is trying to take a ride on you and the bar doesn't want to screw in. I love the old screw-in bars. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the 3 springs. Guess I'm not an engineer, but I think when like I said, when you align the 3 springs like that, it's slightly more tension than 3 straight springs, but again, not as much as 4 springs. So Eddie Van Halen did it like that, and that's probably why. He probably, you know, for whatever reason, he's tuning down a half step, and he just wanted, you know, that's what he wanted the tension to be. Again, does it work? Does it work for you? Good. Then it doesn't matter. You know? Can't believe this. You know, the guys out there that rail against the overwrap. If you have a Tune-O-Matic and the overwrap, they crucify you for that. And it's like, well, guess what? Billy Gibbons is doing it, you know, and Joe Bonamassa is doing it, and it works for them. You know, Zach Wilde is doing it. There's reasons that they do it, and I'd have a whole video on that. But my point is, it works. It works for these guys, and they're great guitar players. I'm not saying, oh, because they're famous or whatever, but do you like the way they play? Do you like the way they sound? Yeah, so do I, and they do it. You know, do you like Eddie Van Halen? Do you like the way he plays? Do you like the way he sounds? Well, he did that with his springs, so That's pretty much what it boils down to. It's not like I want to be like him. You know, the guys all want to be like him. The girls all want to be with him. It's not that. It's just is what it is. Oh yeah, interesting little tidbit there that I found when I was doing just a tiny little bit of research there on the Floyd Rose Part Company. There's one guy, Phil Collin, who is one of the biggest endorsers of their parts. And like I said, I love Def Leppard. I think Phil Collins a great player. I think Joe Elliott calls him an utter technician. And I'm like, yeah, that's accurate, I guess. I don't care for his tone. It's harsh. You know, he uses all those titanium parts, and he has one of the harshest tones that I've ever heard. You guys remember that metal show used to be on VH1 Classic or MTV Classic, whatever it is now, where they used to have a guitarist up in the stands who would play? And I thought, let me think, who were the best ones? John Five was by far one of the best guys that was on there. And Frank Hannon, I thought, was another one who was really good. His little solo piece, and he had obviously planned and both of them had planned and practiced little pieces, little compositions there for the show. And it was just fantastic. And one of my heroes growing up, Jakey Lee, obviously just went to wing it, I guess, and his tone was awful. His performance was not good. And Phil Collin was similar. It was, I think he was just winging it, just noodling, and his tone was some of the harshest, grating to my ears tone that I'd ever heard. You want to kill me in the comments. You love Phil Collin. Hey, great, good. It's just an opinion. And I don't generally like to, bag on people, but that was, it just wasn't good. And it got me thinking. I'm like, Phil. So I always like to know. I like to look at, like liner notes in the old albums or in the cassettes or whatever. And I'm like, I kind of was thinking, like, I don't think Phil Collin did a whole lot of songwriting for Def Leppard. And turns out I was right. Obviously has no writing credits on the first two albums, On Through the Night and High and Dry. He wasn't in the band. But not a single writing credit on Hysteria, and that's pretty well documented. That album was pretty much done by the time they sacked Pete Willis out of the band, and Phil Collin took over, and he played some solos on the recording, but didn't write any of the songs. And then Hysteria. Now Hysteria they were brilliant there, where they split it. They split all the writing credits 5 ways. It's not the 5 guys you think. Rick Allen, the drummer, does not get any writing credits. The 5th guy is Mutt Lange, Robert John Mutt Lange, the producer. But there's a couple great videos out there where Phil Collin actually breaks down some of their most famous songs as to who brought them to the recording sessions for Hysteria. And I'm only going to go through Hysteria because it's kind of like Metallica. After Nothing Else Matters, Nothing Else Did. I didn't really like a whole lot after Hysteria. They did have that one, the very next album that Steve Clark was still participated from, but Phil Collin had to play both his parts and Steve Clark's parts. The name is Adrenalize. Not bad, but anyway, just through Hysteria. I'm gonna go through. Anyway, so Phil Collin talks about whose song it was, who brought the song to. Oh, that's gonna be way. And the only one that was his was Animal. song Animal. He said Armageddon It was actually Rick Savage. Love Bites was Mutt Lange, kind of like a country song. Excitable, they said, was Rick Savage. Pour Some Sugar on Me, Joe Elliott. Actually, they said Hysteria was Rick Allen, so I don't know why no writing credit on that. And Rocket was Joe Elliott. So one of the most interesting books, I can't think of the name of it now, was written by Bob Daisley, bass player for Ozzy Osbourne. And in his book, he says that he gets writing credit for every Ozzy song from Blizzard of Oz all the way through No More Tears. And when I read that, I came and I checked. I have the CDs, I have the tapes. I came and checked, and damn right, he sure does. And that's very telling that that Bob Daisley has a writing credit. Now, he didn't play bass on any of those records after I don't know what he played on after Blizzard of Oz. It was Rudy Sarzo. It was whoever, Phil Soussan. I can't think of his name. But yeah, so yeah, Phil Collin. I just found that interesting. That's all. I was like, I didn't think he wrote a lot of the songs, and I was right. But anyway, Hysteria, they split it 5 ways, so that's pretty smart for the guys and their wallets. Oh yeah, one last topic I made a note of. I also I collect record albums, and it's not like I don't have anything rare or expensive. It's just I collect albums that I like, and I like to get the best copy of it that I can. I want the album to play, but more importantly, I display them. So it's kind of, I want the cover to be in pristine condition as much as I want the album to play. Oops. So I was going through my eBay purchase history, and I'm not like crazy about this. Like, where's my stuff? But I just was, I like to check to see when the stuff is coming. It's tracked, when it's coming, so on and so forth. And one I noticed was way behind. I was like, I think it had been about 7 days since I placed the order and didn't even have tracking on it. So I shoot the guy just one word. I'm like, shipping? ? And he gets back to me, and he's like, basically, I bought this on February the 25th. And he's like, oh, yeah, I assure you it's moving through our system right now. Yeah, your system, like your movie Mars. It's moving through our system right now, and it will ship by March 8th, which is allowed by eBay. So that made me think, I'm like, you need 10 business days? You need 2 weeks, Monday through Friday times 2 to ship something out? Then, A, you're kind of a jerk. I mean, you're a jerk if you need to wait that long. You need to wait, and so I'm talking 10 business days. So this was, how many days total was it? 13 days. You aren't doing a great job running your business if you need 13 days, 10 business days to ship out a product. But it seemed to me like the response I got was very flippant. And it was like, yeah, I'll send it when eBay says I have to, which is by the 8th. And you'll notice that, the record albums, most of them that's a kind of a funny story. I bought one, Macaulay Schenker Group from Germany. I had it faster than that one, which I don't remember where it came from, because I don't have it yet. Somewhere in the United States, like I want to say like Pennsylvania or something like that. Ridiculous. I said, I was like, do you build that in where it's like, are you selling so much stuff that you need that 2 weeks to get it shipped out? You buy something from me, a guitar or a tiny little part, I don't care what it is, I'm shipping that thing to you as fast as I possibly can. You know, the most that I'll wait, if you buy it on a Friday, then I won't be able to ship till the following Monday or Tuesday. That's the longest you're ever going to have to wait. But if you buy it on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, it's going out by Friday. And that's just courtesy. That's just good business. And you're getting a tracking number. You know? But yeah, I thought that was funny, so I looked it up, and it said that this thing really needs to settle back in. And it said, believe it or not, you have 30 days to ship something. eBay gives you 30 days. Could you imagine? Has that ever happened to anybody? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever waited 30 days before someone even shipped something? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Those springs are all about ready to... every one of those springs is about ready to pop out. And that one does not want to go in. That one's being a pain. There we go. Oh my goodness. You know, how close we were to those things all. That's so weird. I'm going to give them all a tiny little love tap there with the old... This belonged to my wife's grandfather. He was a airplane mechanic in World War II, and this was his. He had a great workbench and drill press, and old school drill press and a lathe, and all, you know, every screws and machinist tools and files and everything under the sun. Cool guy. I'll just tell you a funny little story about him. He was... It used to tick him off. It used to piss him off that he couldn't become a member of the VFW and, you know, go to their clubs and attend their meetings and go to their, you know, their establishments, because he was not a veteran of a foreign war. He didn't go. He was never in country. He stayed in the United States during World War II. That's how he explained it to me, and I always thought that was kind of funny. So I had these plates. I don't know if you remember. I had these plates custom made. Frets on the Net. Check him out. Guy's awesome. Takes a long time. He's very good with communication. He's very, very precise. I had these made for the other scepter, and to be honest, they were just the tiniest little bit on the small side. And again, I didn't have this plate, so I printed out templates, cut them out of paper, and I sent them to him. So that's on me. If there was anything wrong with them at all. Anyway, it was a tad bit small. Well, the one that was on this guitar, because of the refin. What is that? Is that? Oh, it's just a little string. Fit super tightly. I even bought a suction pig here, and that's a shout out to Dave's World of Fun Stuff. He uses a suction pig. This is for holding up a cell phone. You know, like so. He uses a suction pig to get the plates off when they're stuck. So, where was I? Yeah. Anyway, Frets on the Net made these. It was a little bit too small. It rattled a little bit. But this one was tight because of this. There's so much paint on it. But it fits in this one perfectly. And just, it looks a lot nicer than the plastic. And I don't understand why Hamer made the brushed aluminum control cavity plates, but not the trem plates. That's just weird to me. I don't get that. So yeah, I guess I'm like, oh, I'll put the nice metal plate on there. That'll look great because it'll fit. Because the plastic one's just a little bit too big. I go to put it on, and it's like, what is happening here? I couldn't put it together. I'm like, what is going on? And that's what it was. It was hitting the dang sustain block and the actual springs. And I tried to move it, and it caught. It would actually affected the tuning. It wouldn't return to pitch because it was catching on there. So weird. we'll see if one of these was wonky. If you remember it, when I was tearing the thing apart, it chipped out right there, and I glued the tiny little paint colored chip back in, super glue. So we'll see if it takes a screw or not. That's what she said. That's what he said. All right, well, we're gonna have 5 screws holding it on because I tried to just tap a little hole there, and the little chip I glued on just blew right out. It's just really not, there's just not enough meat there to hold a screw, which really irks me because, like I said, this is like a perfect as new guitar. But we're gonna have, you know, I'm so, you know, anal about stuff like that. You know what I might even do is I might take this thing off and I'll cut a screw head and I'll super glue it to that. Or I can do it, or I'll do it from the top so that you can't see it. Matter of fact, I think I am gonna do that. Anyway, let's flip this back over. As always, my friends, truly appreciate your support. If you've listened to this whole podcast style guitar repair where we changed out the block on the Hamer Scepter. Truly, truly appreciate your support. Please give me a thumbs up. This way. Give me a thumbs up. Really helps push my videos in the algorithm. Click subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hit me up in those comments. I respond to all of my comments. All right, my friends, truly, truly do appreciate your support. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye. That's a Scepter.